Okay, and now we turn to Mark Victor Hansen. Mark, are you there?
I'm here and thankful to be on the call with a topic like the power of giving. How can we miss?
Well, the first question is very simple. We're going to go back into history. Tell me the specific incident that changed your life when someone gave to you.
Someone gave to me the idea that I could write multi-authored books. I was bankrupt. I was upside down. I borrowed two people's credit cards to get to go to a meeting in Phoenix, Arizona, and Cabot Roberts said, if you can't write a whole book by yourself and you want to be a professional speaker and you want to have something to sell from the platform, you could write a multi-authored book. I heard the idea. It so captivated my soul, I leaned over to the guy next to me who I just had met, Keith DeGreen. I said, can you edit? He said, I was head of Law School Journal. I'm a good editor. I said, good, I can sell. We'll put this book together, and it won't be good. It'll be marvelously good. And I sold 14 people in at $2,000 each to do it. And that year, I went out and sold 20,000 copies of the book and made $200,000. Felt like I died and gone to heaven. It was the most wonderful thing ever. So people can give you an idea that gets you to change your mindset that I teach, changes your money set and changes your future. And then likewise, you get to change other people's future like hopefully we are on this call today.
What was the name of that book, Mark?
The first book we wrote was called Stand Up, Speak Out, and Win, and we still sell it at my office. It's just a little $10 book. Basically got Cabot Roberts, the Dean of Speakers, in there, and I got Nito Kubain, who is now the only one of 2 billionaire speakers in the world who owns Great Harvest Bread Company and is also president now of High Point University, who's raised the most money for any new university that exists, and he's going to become the Harvard of the South. So I picked really good people that have gone and done profound things.
Well, let's turn it around. What specific incident changed your life when you gave to someone else?
I would say the biggest incident, and I can feel my heart open on this, is that the question I get asked all the time is, why do you sell more chicken soup books than anyone? And at the moment we're at $144 million and have a pending order in China for $1 billion. Now, that may or may not come through because of a lot of issues, but what we did starting from Chicken Soup 1, because I believe in this giving thing so much, as I said, we will dedicate 10% of our earnings. I talked my publisher and my partner Jack into it, and I believe that is what has universally blessed us, because I even wrote a book called The Miracle of Tithing, which says there are 4 T's to tithing. First, you tithe your thinking, which is what we're talking about here. Then it's easy to get your time, your talent, and your money is called your treasures. And what happens is that I believe we have been sublimely successful, not a little, because once you are a contributor, once you are a giver, and you start with a penny out of a dime, what it does is it opens up opportunity because Spirit believes you, and then you're also, number 2, is alerted to disasters that are looming in time to get out of the way so the yogurt doesn't hit the fan and it doesn't spill on you.
Well said, Mark.
That's a nice way to say it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great way. I can't wait to utilize that with my kids. Why is giving...
You want to get your kids to give. Can I hit on that for just 1 second?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very important.
As you know, I've got a 3-year-old grandson, and this last Thursday, my grandson was in my office playing, and because I helped raise all the blood for the American Red Cross, they gave me a little bloodmobile from, like, I'd say 1915 or something, and it has a hole in the top of it for saving. And I said, look, Seth is his name. I said, Sethy, you are going to get the first couple quarters from Grandpa, and then you got to roll this around to everybody in the office, and you're going to get 10%, a penny or 10 cents for everybody. And he did. I said, this is your savings, but what Grandpa teaches is give 10%, save 10%, invest 10%. And my daughter, who's 22 and is just graduating college, says, is that what you did to me to make me such a great saver and giver? I said, yes, dear, because if you learn it as a kid, you own it forever. And I didn't learn it as a kid. I had to wait to become an adult and then have it pounded into my brain. But now I know axiomatically that it really works, because you got to save 10%, give 10%, and invest 10%, and you will become financially free and independent, guaranteed, because it's not the amount of money, it's the amount that you save, invest, and give that opens up all the opportunities.
There is no question. And I guess the third question I've been asking everyone on the call, and I want to get your insight, is why is giving so important for the future of humanity? And speak about your foundation for a moment, because we've just started talking about that and raising money for that.
Yep. Well, sharing means having more, and what happens is the minute you share, you open up your heart, soul, mind, and beingness to the invisible, the non-physical element. And what Alex asked me to talk to is my foundation. It's called the Mark Victor Hansen Foundation, and I've got 4 very, very specific dedications that it's dedicated to, although we'll help in any emergency that we see that we can, like we're helping out the wildfire victims here in California from what was called the witch fires, because we had this horrific Santa Ana winds that broke the power lines, went 360 degrees, started fires that only now, almost a month later, that we're finally getting out because we've been way too dry and stuff like that. But the big one that we're doing is we're doing microcredit. And my humongous goal, that is, everyone would tell me is impossible, is this lovely guy, Dr. Muhammad Yunus in Bangladesh, watched people sleeping, and he couldn't tell if they were dead or sleeping from the famine in Bangladesh, and he's a macroeconomist and a Fulbright scholar, which means he's one of the 10 brightest guys in the world. And he said, wait a second, there's got to be a way to do this. I don't want a macro view, I want a micro view. He lent $27 to one woman. She paid it back. She thought that was a fortune because this is a country that people earn 10 cents an hour. And he said that started micro lending. He has now lent money, little sums, always under $100, only to women. He says banks lend to people with collateral. I lend to people that are illiterate. Banks lend in cities. I lend in villages and hamlets and non-cities. He says banks lend to men. I lend to women. And I met him, first of all, in Singapore fortuitously, getting off of an elevator at 11:30 at night, and spent a half hour with him because I knew who he was. I'd read his book called Banker to the Poor. If you haven't gone to Google and looked him up, you want to. And because he has helped 3,600,000 women get loans since 1973 when he started this, he has helped out 100 million people out of poverty. And I said to him, I said, look, my vision for you, Muhammad, is that I will go out and raise. We have 10 million millionaires in America. My dear friend and Alex's, Dr. Paul Zane Pilsner, the top macroeconomist, says we'll have 10 million more millionaires in America in the next 5 years. I said, I think I can get 10% of them to give me $100 a month. And like all my friends, like I'm here with Bob Allen, and Alex has agreed to give $100 a month, and I'm going to get $1 million to give $100 a month. That's $100 million. And I'm going to figure out how to get that going, and Alex is going to work with me on that. We've agreed to that. And what happens is that that's $100 million a month. That's $1 billion a year. In 5 years, we can end world poverty. And the reason I'm doing it through my foundation is most people say, well, Mark, you've got integrity. You've got a lot of money, so you're not going to malign it. And I want to make sure that, God forbid, Muhammad Yunus gets dusted like Mahatma Gandhi or John Kennedy or something for trying to do a great deal of good. We'll just go on to the Unitas Foundation or Kiva or .org, which does women in America. And we're going to get this little problem solved. It's a very big problem, and it's totally solvable because if money can solve a problem, we can solve it. And what Alex said is what happened at my mega speech marketing university in the Empire Building. And what astounded me is that once we announced what we were trying to do, Alex started helping raise money. Then we had a speaker named Jerry Robert, who used to be a minister, and he handed around a bowl sort of like an offering plate, and we got $1,936. And then all of a sudden Tom Antion jumps up and says, I charge $10,000 a day consultancy. I want you to bid on it. How many people here would start at $500? And then it went up to $3,000, and then he had 4 people do $3,000 and $4,000. And then he says $100,000 next year. And then we just had a lot of people do it. And what I want to do is be the visionary thought leader of this thing. And those of you listening want to help. You've got to start by giving before you can receive. And the minute you give, then you're an open channel to receiving. And whether you want to give through the Mark Victor Hansen Foundation, I'm not necessarily being solicitous here because we're trying to solve some other problems on this phone call, which Alex is going to speak to a little more articulately than I will. But the problems of the world are solvable, and Acts 1:8 says, take care of yourself, then your family, then your business, then your city, then your county, then your state, then your country, then the world. And then Rick Warren got me to believe, I thought it was sequential because it was written sequentially, so you get the S right, the name wrong. It's thanks to computerization, transportation, technology. We can literally, for the first time in human history, give to the whole world, and we had the poor start giving, and then they start receiving, and Eunice is just the perfect example of what microcredit can do, because after 2 years, the average person is helping and employing 60 people, and he's teaching them that they got to give to receive. And it is the mind blower is that we'll get the whole world to give, and the whole world will be receiving at a higher level and be open to it. And I probably over answered that, Alex.
Well, you did great, because the most important point is give before you receive, and become a better receiver when you're a great giver. The objective of this call is utilizing the bridge line, putting thought leaders like yourself together enticing people to listen and learn and understand that the power of giving begins with the inner game. It begins between your ears. The gray matter says, yes, I'm deciding to give, whether it's $20, $50, $100 or more.